Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are strapping in for a really high-speed, hyper-local look at one of the most interesting real estate markets in the Midwest.
Noblesville, Indiana.
Exactly. We're not looking back. We are laser-focused on the forecasts and, the really aggressive strategies that sellers are going to need to maximize their returns in Hamilton County,
Right.
specifically looking ahead to 2026.
That's the mission today, to cut through all the general economic noise and just distill the exact blueprint laid out by specialists in the area, like Cara Conde.
Yeah.
This isn't about general advice. It's about turning detailed market forecasts, these very specific numbers, into, fast, top-dollar sales. We're looking for those actionable little nuggets that give a seller a massive edge.
And the source material we're looking at, it makes it all sound genuinely exciting. It frames the market atmosphere as being much like the excitement before a cult home opener.
I love that. It suggests a high-stakes, kind of energetic environment.
It really does. So let's unpack that energy. What's the big picture for Noblesville in 2026?
The projection is for steady evolution.
Hi.
And the bedrock of that is confidence. There are some immediate numbers that kind of anchor everything. The big one, mortgage rates are stabilizing near 6%.
And that is creating what the source calls a perfect window.
Exactly. That stability is what gives everyone, buyers, sellers, investors, the confidence they need to actually make a move.
So what does that stability mean for prices? Where are we starting this conversation median-wise?
Initially, the projections were hovering in a pretty robust range, between about $375,000 and $445,000.
Okay.
And overall, we're seeing modest statewide appreciation rates of maybe 2 to 4%. But the most exciting part, reflecting that, Colts game energy, is speed.
How fast are we talking?
Homes in Hamilton County are moving extremely fast. Selling in as little as 12 to 23 days. Speed is absolutely possible if you get the strategy right.
Okay, let's deepen our dive into those core 2026 metrics. That initial price range is pretty wide, so let's try to tighten up the numbers game for anyone heading into the new year.
For sure.
Right.
We actually need to adjust those projected medians upward just slightly, which is a great sign for sellers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, prices are now expected to climb closer to the peak of that original range.
Well,
Think more like $385,000, up to maybe $460,000.
wow.
But to understand why the selling strategy has to be so aggressive, we have to look at the single most crucial metric here, which is inventory.
Which is the measure of market balance, right? The supply.
Precisely. For a traditional, really balanced market where neither side has all the power, you're usually looking at, say, 4 to 6 months of supply.
Right.
Noblesville is projected to be at a balanced but very low 2.1 to 2.5 months of supply.
So it's balanced, but just barely.
Exactly. That's the
Okay.
key. It's a little better than a crazy seller's market, which is under 2 months, but that 2.5-month threshold means sellers can't just list a property and, watch the offers roll in.
So buyers have time to be a bit more choosy.
They do. It sounds like a market of really high opportunity, but also one that demands perfection.
Yeah, and if the days on market are stabilizing at that quick 12 to 23 days, it confirms speed is possible, but that window is narrow. It's unforgiving if your pricing or prep is off.
And that brings us right to the most urgent part of the strategy, timing.
Mm.
The prime selling window is identified specifically as Q1 through Q2 of 2026.
First half of the year.
And that urgency is critical. It's being driven by outside pressure.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting because the source points directly to an external pressure that demands a Q1 listing. It says sellers need to list early to beat the new construction flood. We're talking about over 300 new units expected to hit the Hamilton County market.
300. That volume
Okay.
it's significant. When that many brand new units, all with modern amenities, warranties, all of it, when they arrive on the market, they just instantly suck up buyer demand.
And they offer a direct, very competitive alternative to existing homes.
Absolutely. That new inventory is almost certainly going to put downward pressure on average sales prices, and it will definitely slow down the average days on market once it arrives in force.
So if you want the best price and the fastest sale, you have to get in before Q2. That is a tight, very defined window. Okay, so let's pivot from the what to the how. In the face of this, delicately balanced inventory, what are the mandatory proactive steps sellers in Noblesville need to take?
Well, the whole strategy is really defined by the need to stand out. Let's start with pricing. The agent mandates that it has to be extremely aggressive.
Aggressive how?
The recommendation is to price the home to achieve 102% or more of the list price.
Whoa, hold on. I have to pause you there. 102%. If the market is balanced, even at 2.5 months of inventory, isn't that incredibly risky?
It sounds like it, right?
Yeah, I mean, standard wisdom says you risk just sitting on the market, especially with 300 new homes about to drop. How do they justify that?
That's an excellent question, and it goes right to the heart of this specialized approach. It relies on two things. First, the agent leverages SVN-powered comparative market analyses.
SVN, that's Sperry Van Ness, the commercial real estate firm.
Exactly. So by leveraging their data, their commercial metrics, the agent can find valuation points that, a typical residential agent might just miss. It makes the comps hyper-accurate and helps support that higher price.
So it's not just wishful thinking, it's backed by, like, investment-grade data. That makes more sense.
It does. And the second piece is the agent's own expertise. They hold a CNE certification.
A certified negotiation expert.
Right. So they have specialized training to handle those crucial moments after an offer comes in. The counter offers multiple bids, ensuring that the initial aggressive price actually holds up through inspections and appraisal. You can't aim for 102% without that kind of power in negotiations.
That definitely mitigates the risk. Okay, so beyond pricing, what about prepping the property? We're past just, paint the walls gray.
The focus has to be really strategic and local. Sellers have to focus on tangible value. Energy-efficient upgrades are called out specifically.
Things like new windows, updated HVAC.
Yeah, stuff that lowers the cost of ownership. And beyond that, you have to sell the area's unique proposition. That means highlighting local charm. Mention things like river views or lean into that historic vibe if the property has it.
So you're selling the Noblesville lifestyle, not just the house.
You have to. It's how you separate yourself from those 300 new construction boxes. And finally, transparency. In a balanced market, trust is everything. The source advises sellers to fully disclose known issues, like radon or flood zones, right up front. The view is clear. Being secretive just leads to suspicion, discounts, and delays.
Transparency wins.
It wins the fast closing.
Moving on from strategy, let's talk about the tools and networks you need to get that kind of exposure, the kind that leads to these faster over-asking deals. What technology is basically table stakes now?
It's a full high-tech suite, really.
Yeah.
We're talking professional drone tours to capture the whole property in its setting.
Right.
AI-enhanced photos to make sure every visual is perfect, and virtual staging.
Ah, so buyers can visualize the space without the seller having to spend a ton on physical staging.
Exactly. These tools are cited as being, essential for getting top dollar in 2026.
But the real unique advantage, the thing that makes these aggressive targets seem actually believable, it seems to come from the agent's commercial connections.
This is the true differentiator.
So tell me about this SVN network connection.
Well, the agent isn't just a residential expert. They're also a commercial syndication expert affiliated with SVN Northern Commercial.
A major firm.
A major commercial real estate firm. And what that means is they have an entire off-market network, a pipeline of investors, developers, commercial clients who can be leveraged for residential sales.
Especially on the high-end and luxury deals.
For sure. You're basically bypassing the traditional market for certain properties. And the source claims this network is incredibly effective, that it routinely helps close luxury deals 20% faster than the average.
20% faster! That's a huge, measurable advantage.
It's a game changer. It shows that leveraging a network that spans both residential and commercial gives you unmatched exposure. The demand isn't just from families looking for a home, it's from capital looking for an asset.
And just to solidify the why behind all this, let's quickly touch on the professional expertise. Licensed since 2002, so over 20 years of experience.
Plus those critical certifications we mentioned, the CNE and the Luxury Home Marketing Specialist designation.
And the track record backs it up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
$50 million plus, closed. And the ambition is clear too. The goal is to close $25 million just in 2026 alone. This is a high-volume, high-value strategy built on a real mastery of the market.
We've been really focused on Noblesville, but for this last section, let's widen the lens a little bit to understand the expertise across the whole Indianapolis metro area. I think that gives some vital context.
Right. The specialized focus on Noblesville is actually part of a much larger regional strategy centered on Hamilton County.
And the suburbs served are, well, all the big ones.
All of them. Zionsville, Carmel, Fishers, Avon, Geist, Westfield are all listed. So this isn't just a single town specialist. It's an Indianapolis metro expert.
An expert whose advice seems to be deeply informed by investment and commercial principles.
This is a critical point that underpins all the residential advice. The agent publishes a lot of content on really complex commercial topics.
Like what?
Things like the profitability of self-storage properties, investing in senior living apartments, using a master lease option strategy, and understanding complex financial concepts like DSCR and NOI.
Okay, for the typical seller, those acronyms they're pure jargon.
They are.
So if we want them to get it, we need to break it down. What does knowing about those topics tell you about the agent's mindset?
It tells you they approach every single property sale with an investor's eye. So, for instance, DSCR is debt service coverage ratio. It's how lenders see if a property can cover its own mortgage payments.
And NOI.
NOI is net operating income, basically the profit before taxes and debt. If your agent is tracking these kinds of commercial metrics, they're treating your home as a potential asset in a much broader capital market.
And that master lease option thing.
That's a really sophisticated investment vehicle where an investor leases a property with the option to buy it later at a set price. By writing about that, the agent is showing they understand how serious money moves into the region.
So what does this all mean for the person selling a 3-bedroom house in Noblesville? How does knowing that self-storage is a hot investment affect their sale?
It means the pricing advice you're getting isn't just based on what your neighbor's house sold for 6 months ago. It's informed by these broader capital flows and regional investment demand. If the agent knows that investment money is aggressively targeting Hamilton County, whether it's self-storage or apartments, they know the underlying economic engine is strong.
And that provides the context for a home's true maximum pricing power.
It gives them the confidence to aim for 102%.
This has been a really specific, aggressive playbook for Noblesville in 2026. Let's do a quick recap of the essential strategies.
Okay.
Listing in Q1 is non-negotiable. You have to beat that new construction.
Pricing aggressively, aiming for 102% or more of lists.
And leveraging all those high-tech tools and that off-market SVN commercial network for, rapid exposure.
The reinforcement here is absolutely clear. If you're asking, is 2026 a good time to sell in Noblesville? The source is saying absolutely.
Yeah.
Rising sales volume and that balanced but kind of fragile inventory make Q1 and Q2 ideal.
Yeah.
Provided you execute this highly strategic, aggressive plan.
The message is, the market has the appetite, but you have to be fully prepped and optimized to meet that demand.
Indeed. But let's leave you with one final provocative thought that builds on all this. We hammered home the advice to list in Q1 to beat the arrival of those 300-plus new construction units.
Right.
The projected appreciation rate for the state is a modest 2 to 4%. So given the sheer volume of that new inventory and the fact that new homes typically pull up buyer expectations, we have to ask.
What's the long-term impact on the sustainability of that 2 to 4% appreciation rate beyond Q2 of 2026?
And how might that massive influx of new homes shift the selling tactics required for anyone who misses that prime Q1 window?
Knowledge is power, especially when you're facing hundreds of units of brand new competition. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Noblesville's real estate future.